Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ya Bitch Radio. If you said it, we probably knew it already. And today we're going to be talking about several topics. We're going to be talking about demons. We're going to be talking about the Bible. We're going to be talking about drunkenness and drunkards. We're going to go ahead and talk about just different things. We're going to talk about where to go to find help. So stay tuned. Okay, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, in the beginning was the Word, right? People will say, well, that's Jesus. In the beginning was Jesus, and the Word was with God. Because they say the Word became flesh and dwelt among men. Now, truly I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her. How is that? Is that by the Word? Is the Word a book? Like so many things, the book of life with your name written upon it. What are these things that we are conflicting ourselves without knowing? Now, I tell you, I believe firmly that your whole life is written down and you write it yourself. Every word that you have, you scribe it in yourself. Your spirit scribes every word because it matters. Your spirit scribes every word because it matters. You call it recall or memory, but I call it memory. I call it what we wrote. And sometimes we get lost and we can't remember because honestly, if we were to recite our whole books right now, we would need three to bear witness in heaven: the Father, the Word, and the Spirit. Because truly I tell you, we need a comforter. And the comforter came to testify of Jesus. All things about me. And the comforter came to comfort you in your trials and your tribulations. Because we chose not the things of this world. However, the things of this world can improve at any time. There's always hope. No matter how distant hope is, no matter if it's 2 states away, 3 states away, hope is there. And somebody else is helping themselves to hope. Your hope. And you call them family. You say that we are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And hope awakens every night, always wondering if there is somebody out there that needs her help. Lady Liberty, a gift, a beautiful gift to France, shows that we are brother and sister united in Jesus Christ. We are, yes, a Christian nation in America. So let our troubles and our differences guide us away from being without works. For I tell you, works with knowledge is alive. Knowing that somebody is working on your behalf, even though that you do not know it, it's alive. Knowing that Jesus is living, working on your behalf, it's alive in you. For I tell you a gospel that you may not have heard. Jesus died for your joy. He really did. And your joy is what you call your sins. But I tell you, he was anointed with joy, and he lived for joy. For everywhere that he walked, he found joy in healing the sick and the hurting, knowing that they are going to know the true God, the God that does not lie. Now, I tell you, there's many people that would sit back and say, well, I have a quorum. If you do not accept Jesus as God, you are going to a lake of fire. If you do not accept Jesus right now in your life, you'll perish. If you are preaching Islam right now, you are preaching lies. But I tell you, the most people that question me about the Quran and its writing, saying that did Allah commit shirk when he said we preordained all things, I speak to you as one that speaks upon the name of the plural name Elohim. For you lean not on your own understanding. You know a little bit about God's personality, and then you say, at this moment, I had to make a decision. Am I going to worship this way or this way? I tell you, it's not about your worship. God does not desire your worship everlasting. Jesus said, be perfect, just as my Father in heaven is perfect. So I tell you, be better, just as your Father in heaven is better. For steel sharpens steel. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and the recovering the sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. Now, I surely tell you, I do not do all things there. I do not set liberty for them that are bruised. I really don't. I send to them ice packs for them to cover themselves with. I tell them, calm down. God either wants you to be red hot, on fire, doing the will of the Father, or ice cold. Just not engaging, not arguing, but doing what you can to say that you renounce your family and your ties with them. And instead, you say to yourself that I preach the gospel of healing the sick and the poor. Of saying to themselves, if I can fix one person today, would it be myself? There's a man that has many mansions. The man that lives in New York. He says that he takes care of the poor. He says he puts the poor in his house. The poor is his family, his own flesh and blood. He says to me, why should I give anything? Why should I give 10% to a homeless person? Why should I do that? I am saving my money for Jesus. And then he says to me, I have yet a rod of I have yet seen. I have seen this man who has a rod of iron. That is Jesus. That is the man-child, I should say. The ruler of this world. Do you not see that he carries a rod of iron? But I tell you, a rod of iron is yet to be told to you as it was told to me. But I tell you, find joy in the things that we do not know. For you lean not on your own understanding, but on somebody else. For the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. Blessed are those that are poor in spirit, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted. Blessed are those that are pure of heart, for they will see God. To preach deliverance to the captives. For I tell you, deliverance is in the word that I have spoken to you. Yet you have not read yet, nor would you find any way around it. For kids' corners must come. Kids' corners is the way of the future. You coveted your family. Therefore, just as you said to yourself, I am saving myself, my virginity for my wife, so I do not commit adultery on her, I say to you, do not covet your children. Let them grow away from your influence. Give them positiveness, but still do not pry. Your education system needs to have an outlet away from infiltrating them for commercial and marketing sake. They need to have moderators. They need to have games. They need to have creative writing. They need to have rewards, money, monetary gain. They need not be put on TV to go against RFK Jr. They need not to be propagized like Martin Luther King's granddaughter for candy, a dress, and a moment to be heard in front of the people, to shine her childhood, to say that there is a reason for Black Lives Matter. Those are the iniquities that I find within you. And those are why I do not come for them that claim to be bruised. For me, Machiavelli, we both say, we spit on you. And Marshall, in his way. What are some techniques that you can have in this world? Well, if you look at that picture and you know that you're in Pennsylvania, you know that you're in Florida, you know that you're in Virginia, you know that you're in all these places on the East Coast, I tell you that you are guilty of saying that we pay the minimum. For these women from other countries, they come to serve you. And yet, you do not build them a nice place to be. You do not create a nice atmosphere for them to live in. It's subtly soothing in its own way. But yet, it's a prison that they live in. And it's not enjoyable. There's no dating, there's no marriages, there's no nothing. In fact, America said that they do not want marriages between these type of women. They would rather have them in massage parlors. And we make movies about them. And we laugh. why I cried. You say, you want jerky? Well, most people will say, I'll take anything, even the bride. But will the bride love me if I had no money, if I had nothing, if I had come completely out of my shell? And I say, I have no house to give you, no nothing, but yet I have money enough to come to see you every week. But that was what geishas were. And a geisha could choose who she loved. A beautiful, romantic geisha of Chinese culture. Yet, we look upon China as some type of obscured word, communism. Yet I suggest with Kids Corners we do socialism for the children's sake, to give them a chance in this world. I believe that some socialism is good. Corporate socialism will take over if we ever had truly electrical problems. Money is not an issue in America, except for that there is a draining economy that is purposely attacking the middle class and the lower class. They do it through medicine. Truly, I tell you, the medicine that they give you need not be affecting you at the moment. It slows you down, but God has made you that way for a reason. I suggest that you take your medicine that you're prescribed, but I also suggest that you understand that things can be cured with musical meditation and working with your psychiatrist and therapist. For I met a doctor, Dr. Santina, Building 50. He prescribed every patient there the same medicine. And I said to myself, where's the fruit in that? Where's the knowledge? And then, on another regiment, he was prescribing other people another medication. But they were all taking the same medication at the same time. Why? Is that a theory that medicine connects the mind? If you all block a receptor, do you all continue to communicate differently? Most people don't know, but I believe that they're like molecules of actual uh, uh, brains. Honestly, they have to do molecules of what is a process of uh, artificial or synthetic brains. So they're copying our human brains to make synthetic medication. And where's the proof that it helps? We look at the hospitals, we really do, and we just don't see that there's enough residency for everybody that goes to a hospital to get a place to stay. Well, I'll talk about that in another podcast because I believe that we will move on. Then came the disciples to Jesus apart and said, why could we not cast him out? And they're referring to a demon. A demon, and the whole crowd was there. They wanted the disciples to cast him out. And I ask you, are you trying to cast out the demon to produce your flesh, or produce and protect your flesh? Or are you trying to cast out a demon for others? Or are you trying to rescue the demon from the crowd? Now Jesus came and he cast out the pigs. He said that these pigs are going to be used for the demons. So, forgive if I get tongue-tied here, because what it is said is that he cast the demons out into the pigs. But I say he cast out the pigs into the demons. They chose to all die after that because they knew they had to answer for the pigs, who had no conscience, truly explaining that animals had no control. They were natural souls, as the Catholic Church insisted, and as humans have a greater spiritual soul. I want to introduce you to something. What is known as why man is greater than a pig. Because we are said to have both a natural soul and a spiritual soul. But here is also the reason why. We show compassion to those that do not deserve compassion. It has been shown time and time and again by only the great leaders of Julius Caesar, my father. And we had to look at the USS Nimitz and the admiral that signed a peace treaty with Japan, and the leaders that were in America at that time after the 2 nukes went off in Japan. For they could have said, we want to conquer the world ourselves. But they didn't, and they wouldn't, because they just wanted peace. But the emperor refused it. So that brings me to a point that says that we have in us the ability to serve this world in a better way, to volunteer and everything. And again, I'll get into the plan of how to reconstruct the world later. But look at the picture that I posted. It's skyscrapers. You can see for yourself. One skyscraper can house 10,000 people. As long as you have indoor farms, you make one floor every 10 floors, and harness locust. You have milk. You have other foods, grain, everything that you have inside of a skyscraper. You can go 50 stories up and house about 10,000 people comfortably. Then there's back to what we were talking about, demons. The screw tape leathers. That is an interesting novel by C.S. Lewis. Yes, the same C.S. Lewis that made Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Yes, the same C.S. Lewis that made sorry, that wasn't that book. That was another book. Well, I can't think of it at the moment, but C.S. Lewis wrote many, many books in his time, and one of which was a book about demons and how they come after you and what is their main goal and how they communicate and all the things around your family, and that each person has their own personal demon that is attached to them since birth, and that the demon's job is to sow discord, and if they don't do their job right, well, in the end they get thrown into a fire and thought of no more. But surely I tell you, my God is greater. Is there mercy for demons? Look at this pictures. Can you see mercy for evil? Do you think that there is mercifulness of an evil one? Do you think that they deserve any type of second thought in this world? That's for you to decide. For I say to you, God knows every hair on your head. He knows every fleck of skin in a demon. I want to invite you to ask your questions and interests and send them to my email, whowtill@gmail.com. All right? We will go for all the emails that are sent and have a conversation. We will maintain an eye contact by not breaking the conversation until, well, you go your way and I go mine. You listen to my podcast again or not. Today, I specially started this topic off to talk about drunkenness and the drunkard and the difference of each. Now, I do say that most people believe that they are doing the right thing in the book of the Bible by saying that they do not drink alcohol because they abstain from it because the Bible tells them so. But to be a drunkard means that you cannot understand why you continue to do your continuous desires without turning away from it. It is not what goes into the mouth of a man that makes him unclean and defiled, but what comes out of the mouth that makes a man unclean and defiles. So I want you to remember Wet Ass Pussy on the radio as you let your little children dance to that song. I want you to remember all the things of Devil's Night. I want you to remember all the songs of Blue and Yellow Purple Pills. Before you guys try to convince people that it was different words by bleeping them out so well that people can't even tell what was the real words or the wrong or the words at that time. I'm telling you that it surely helped the medical companies sell their pills. And then they say we have a fentanyl problem. Well, sir, if we didn't have fentanyl producing companies in America, we wouldn't have that problem. Why we have fentanyl producing companies? For executions. And what's better execution? 100,000 Americans die every year of drug overdose. Why? Why not? What do we need a failure for in this life? You know, as Trump would say, be a winner like him. Bill Wilson, he's the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous. He particularly, within the 12-step context, incorporated biblical principles while maintaining that it's not a religious organization. But God gave him a gift to help people get off of alcohol, especially during a time when alcohol was made more addictive than it is now. In today's alcohol world, I can drink as much as I want, And yet, I do not crave it like I did back then. I don't know. They make the waters in bars sweeter. They make it so as they purposely make it addictive. Still, if you go to a bar. But I tell you, alcohol is very addictive. But what smashes an addiction? Another addiction. That's all. Until we learn to love our neighbor, not our family, our neighbor, not our mother, our neighbor, not our children, our neighbor. No, you don't teach a child. The child teaches you. A child is the earthly master. And people have a problem because I say I am of the world. I believe in the world hierarchy of teaching our children about seeking help, confessing shortcomings, and practicing forgiveness. I do believe that. I mean, you do have to teach, but only so much, because if you allow a child to wander, he will find his way home. It may take a while, but surely there's a lot of children, a lot of people wandering, 100,000 people a year that wander their way, and they find their way through another way because we failed them. Bill Wilson was involved in an Oxford group, a Christian revivalist organization. He played the piano. He had good friends after he quit alcohol. He made sure that the legacy was not about him, but to his higher power. There is medication to help alcoholics stop seizing. There are support meetings. You can go to aa.org for more help or na.org for more help. A quick funny. The drug addict says to the drunk man, "I chose drugs because I did not want to squander my chance at inheriting the kingdom of heaven." And the drunk man said, "I chose alcohol because if everyone in heaven is like they are now, I prefer not to inherit it." Just a quick funny. Now, it is fun to go to a place called REBOS. That's sober, spelled backwards. It's fun to go there and start talking about your first experiences with alcohol, drugs for NA. Or you go there and you just say, hello, I'm Mark, I'm an alcoholic. Every time I started drinking, my drinking ended up being compulsive, a compulsive desire. Just another one of the compulsive desires that I attach myself to for the time being that I'm here. I had no way to recollect anything. For the people that send me here to help me are truly against me, and I believe that so. So I come here on my own accord to tell you that I'm an alcoholic. Thank you for tuning in to Yo Bitch Radio podcast number 2. And I want to thank you very much, and I hope you all have a wonderful and a great rest of your day. And remember, if you said it, we probably thought it already.